Hi, my name is Shanice Robinson, and the topic that I chose for my political dance is prejudice. I chose my topic because I think it is important in today's political climate, especially with politics surrounding people of different races and people of different cultures, and how it kind of seems like nowadays everyone is expected to follow the beliefs and the lifestyles of everyone else when all along it has been the differences in people and the differences in cultures and kind of the melting pot that is the United States that makes it such a great country. The premise of my dance is a bustling neighborhood with a mixture of people dancing on the street below. Sitting above them is someone who is also part of the neighborhood, but he doesn't believe that what the dancers are portraying and exhibiting in their movements and things like that belong in the neighborhood. He wants to change things to the way that he lives his life. Even though he's captivated and enthralled by the dancers and he sits and watches them, he believes that his ideas would be better suited. So he leaves his stoop and he approaches the dancers one by one and basically conforms them to his way of life. After he finishes conforming all of the dancers, he returns to his spot above them, which represents him kind of looking down on them, thinking that he's above them. He goes back to his spot and he begins to watch the dancers again, and he's not getting the same feelings of enjoyment that he was when everything was diverse. To showcase the diversity in the dance, the neighbors who are dancing on the street are represented each by wearing a different color of the rainbow, and the man who wants to change everything is represented by wearing all black. Once he comes down to begin conforming the dancers and the neighbors to his way of life, you'll see, or you would see, that the dancers' colors all begin to change from the bright color that they were to the dull black. This also lends to losing the enjoyment because visually you can see now that there's a change. There's not much excitement for the eye in the dance any longer. Everyone looks exactly the same. And furthermore, in addition to changing their outfits to make them all the same, he then takes the dancers who at this point were freestyling their movements and has them all doing the exact same thing, a march. Once he realizes he's not getting the same excitement that he was before from watching everyone just march at the same time, wearing the same color, he then goes back and tries to reformat the dance, tries to put them into different positions, line them up based on height, by weight, by darkness of skin color, and each time he goes back to the stoop and begins to watch the dance to see if he can still feel that enjoyment for him or still get that enjoyment from the dance, but he's never able to replicate that feeling. Instead of then going down and trying to put things back to the way it was, he just leaves the neighborhood completely, leaving the dancers to then kind of rebuild themselves and rebuild their community. The dancers are all lined up, marching at the same time on the stage for 8 counts until the first dancer breaks away from the group and begins to dance around them. Once that dancer begins to dance around them, one by one they fall into a circle with that dancer, and they start decreasing the size of the circle so that they're closer together. They begin waving their flags in the air to signify their unity, and then the dancers break from the circle into their freestyle dance that they were doing prior to, and we'll see that the black sashes that they were once wearing have now reverted back to their original color. As the dancers continue dancing, they're freestyling, it's very lively on stage. We see a new dancer, come onto the stage and essentially move into the neighborhood and take their spot on the stoop, and then begin to look down at the dancers dancing in the city. As the new neighbor is sitting on the stoop watching the dancers, the lights go out, the curtain closes. The blackout at the end of the dance, as the new neighbor is watching, is to signify that these types of things are cyclical, and that unless we begin to just embrace the differences and the different cultures within our communities and within our neighborhoods, we're going to keep going through the same thing, to have the same rebuilding of communities, the same rebuilding of cultures every time someone comes in and they don't like it and they want to change it instead of just accepting it for what it is. In my movement video, I demonstrated the final part of the dance. Unfortunately, it's just myself. I don't have anyone else to demonstrate the movements with me, but I am representing the first dancer who is stepping out of the march and begins dancing around the other dancers in the circle. I then leave the circle, and you'll notice that the flag that I'm wearing, the sash, changes from black to more colorful. And then as I begin to close up the dance, I have a ladder behind me that represents the stoop, and to kind of showcase the new neighbor coming in, I placed a pair of shoes there, so you'll notice that. As well as I'm dancing with the colorful fan before the lights go dark, you'll notice that now there are shoes on the stoop signifying the new neighbor that's there, and the lights go dark signifying the change and the return of the cycle.